Go ahead.
You're listening to Calculated Drivel, The Freedom Frontier, Isolation Sessions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. It's been a month. This is the second installment of Calculated Drivel, the Zumba Bar, Tattoos at the Movies, with our very special guest, a former school friend of mine, David Lowry, extremely talented artist, filmmaker, tattooist, and the guest for this episode. And I'm joined once again by my great colleague Matt, who always brings a highbrow edge to everything that he does, and a subtle, sophisticated tone to some of his notes in his phone, which we will get into later on in the show. So, hi Matt, how are you doing?
Hi, thanks. Yeah, good. It was a good show. This is, we should say, a first for Calculated Drivel, where we're recording the intro after recording the show, so we can see into the future, you could say. And it was a good show, yeah, very interesting guy. I'd not met David before. We got lots of insights into the tattoo industry, lots of sad tattoos that he's given in the past. Yeah, it's a good one. And yeah, as Mark, you say, get into some the dark depths of my phone notes.
Yeah. And we also have a couple of failed features as well, which I really sort of was involved highly in, so you guys can laugh at that whilst you walk around listening to this on Spotify.
Yes, we should say this is, you will have noticed that the last episode and all episodes since and in the future will be released on Spotify and iTunes and SoundCloud and Google Podcasts and a load of other podcasting platforms I've not heard
Bebo,
of.
MySpace, you name it, it's on there.
Fax, you can get it faxed to
We
you.
can fax you the manuscript from the show. And yeah, here we go. Welcome back to the show. Good evening, world listeners. We are back at the Zumba Bar, of all places, for another Calculated Drivel session. I'm very lucky this week to be joined by my usual colleague, Matt, a resourceful young chap who I met in Newcastle, a place which has a lot of old castles, as our guest has pointed out. Not that many on the contemporary side, very disappointing. But yeah, tonight is Calculated Drivel, the Zumba Bar, Tattoos at the Movies, which I'm sure you all I'm sure you all could agree that might be a difficult combination if you were trying to concentrate and someone was getting inked in the row behind. Tonight we have a very special guest on the show, a chap who I've known for a number of years, going back to a school in the Midlands that had a very creative name. It was based in Warwick and it went by the name of Warwick School. Both of us had the pleasure of being taught by a down-to-earth, pipe-smoking Yorkshireman who went by the humble name of Mr. Flintoff. I say went by because I'm not sure if he was actually called that. David was always partial to throwing out the rule book. Rather than a cliched conventional backpack, he opted for a large yellow-wheeled suitcase, formerly known as Big Custard. David and I set up a coffee shop in the A-level art department, based on a concept sketch that I did willy-nilly, and labelled Spider's Paradise. Dave took that concept sketch and built Paradise from the ground up, and we're very lucky here to be joined by him tonight to catch up on all things movies, tattoos, life, anything really. We've not seen each other for quite a while. Dave, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, Ken. I've got my Zumba right here, and I'm ready just to chow down on some serious Zumba.
Yeah. There's no Zumba allowed in the Zumba Bar, just to let you know. Don't let the name mislead you. But yeah, how are things going, man? What's going on? And Matt's here as well. Matt, hi.
Yeah, hi. I'm nice to meet you, David. For the listener, we've not met before, so.
No.
Yeah.
But I've met you in spirit. I've watched all of the long-time listener, first-time guest.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpick there from that intro, Mark. That's a very interesting array of things. I feel like, is there anything you think Mark's missed off there from your relationship? I'm very intrigued about the yellow suitcase, I have to say.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to hear someone summarize your life. It's kind of like being at a funeral, but I'm not dead yet, so worst of both worlds, really. But yeah, it sounded comprehensive. I don't think anything else happened in those years, so
No.
I think that pretty much covers it.
Well, Dave, he also had a knack for, I say knack, he did it once to my knowledge, convincing friends, dads who have old vintage cars to bring their car out at the weekend to film for an art project. Maybe you could tell the listener a little bit about that, Dave, as a starting topic.
Oh Jesus! Oh man! Well, I was making this weird, pretentious film. I think I watched one French film, and then thought, this is it. This is basically my life, and I'm going to be French, and in a film. And I made it, and it was hideous. Mark was in it, actually. You were wearing a little hat.
Yeah, I didn't have to pick up some papers that were blowing around in the wind, some A4 printouts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do we have this footage?
I think I've actually lost it. I don't know.
Oh, you've got to dig that out.
We need to recreate it if we don't. Mark in a little hat.
Yeah.
Everyone was in hats. It was just, it was 2010. It was just one of those years.
Yeah.
I think it was the time of the quirky fedora before it dropped off very sharply. Yeah, we all had fedoras and we were all absolute dicks. But no, it's a friend of ours, George Underwood. You might know him.
Do you know him, Matt?
No, I don't think
No.
so.
Well, you might. I don't know. Matt might. To be fair, I didn't. Matt, you might have known him. To be fair, sometimes people cross paths in the world. These things happen.
Just think if you've ever heard the name George Underwood or had like an email.
It probably went.
Probably have. Probably have.
Yeah.
Probably have at some point. So George's dad was a fancy man and had this old car. I don't even know why. But he was driving around underage as well. So
Wow.
sad ending really to that story.
Dave got George to drive his dad's car down this round this corner in Leamington Spa multiple times for the shot. And it was just funny, when George was driving it around, I distinctively remember seeing his dad sat on these steps of someone's house. And I think the people came out and were like, can you get off our steps? But he was already sort of a bit on edge, the fact that his son was driving this car just repeatedly around this corner.
Yeah, he was doing the slightly far away concerned dad look,
body language vibe.
So I feel like we
Go on,
went
Matt.
in quite deep straight away.
Yeah.
I feel like we should rewind slightly to give the listener a bit of a broader overview of David, which might clarify some of the quite obscure things you mentioned in your introduction. So, am I right in saying that you're a filmmaker Is that your profession, or is that a hobby?
It's
or is it a way of life?
No. It's like, well, what the fuck do I even do? I don't know. I'm like, in the week, I work as like a film producer for this small company, and on the weekends and stuff, I tattoo. But ultimately, I want to be like a screenwriter, really.
Nice.
But yeah, it's one of the things I found about getting into screenwriting is that you have to talk to other people, and you have to try and like send your work to other people. And so far, I haven't done that at all. So I'm just getting over that.
You need to dig out that film of Mark in a hat and send that round.
There could be something in that. Don't ask me what. So what I thought we could do, just as anyone we have on the show, Dave, we tend to do a couple of warm-up questions that are meant to be very calculated drivel, out and out questions. Just go with your gut instincts on these ones. I don't know why people I'm sure you always do. So the first question is, worst place in the world to get forced to go fishing for an extended period. Worst place in the world for you to be sent and you're contractually obliged to keep fishing. Where do you reckon?
When you say keep fishing,
yeah,
I mean, what is that time period? Because that's quite ominous as a thing.
Good question. We never had a follow-up question before. I'm gonna say,
give him a time frame, Matt.
Say 3 hours, or until you've caught your first fish, whichever is longer.
So I guess it's a place with water, isn't it? Ideally.
Otherwise, you're gonna be there for a long time.
You never know. You never know.
You never know. That's what I always say. It's Mark's picked that up from me, but that's something I always say. I mean, it's wrong actually, really, because there are a lot of things that you do know.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like to take responsibility off their shoulders and just sort of kick it down the road like a can. But yeah, where do you reckon, Dave? Where would you least like to go fishing in the world?
Where would I least like to go fishing? Well, I've never been fishing. Been crabbing.
Okay.
Very similar idea, but there are crabs.
Yeah.
Are we including crabbing in this, Mark?
Yeah, well, he can answer that as well if Dave fancies it. Yeah.
Because that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Okay. Crabbing's included. Oh.
Fuck. I didn't know it was going to be one of those nights.
What's the least favourite place?
Surely, actually no. I'm not gonna influence you.
God, I didn't know there'd be questions.
Oh, well, there's a lot more questions to come.
What? What's our least favourite place to go fishing?
If it helps you, previous answers have been Stockport and South Sudan.
S's. A lot of S's, I see.
If you want to go down that route.
It's the worst. I think, like an Asda at that point when it's kind of like, it's like 2 or 3 a.m. and they're doing that stock rotation. They're doing the big turnaround, and it's like the place is an absolute. There are no rules at that point. I don't think, and I think if I tried to fish there, I wouldn't like it. So
no.
Like, you'd be there a long time as well, which probably would add to the trauma.
Does it have a fish counter?
They do actually, yeah. But I think if you start trying to fish into a fish counter with multiple fish that are dead, people start asking questions. To say the least.
To be there for 3 hours without being moved on.
Yeah, you say moved on as if there's like multiple fish counters, Matt. Last time I checked, there was only one.
Out of interest, now that you brought up fish counters,
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen anyone using the fish counter?
Not in a non-ironic way, no.
It's a good question. I'm not limping. Is it because I've been paying attention to the fish counter, or I can't say I've ever used one. So yeah, I mean,
I feel like the amount of knowledge that you need to have to use a fish counter is just immense.
A lot of people
intimidated. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people like to sort of turn up at these sort of fish counters and sort of Billy Big Bollocks, like, oh yeah, I know about the yellowfin, this and the I've named the colour of the fin, and then said a fish afterwards. So yeah. Anyway, that's the little fishing section to get us started. The next question, Matt. Do you want to hit Dave with the next warm up calculated drivel
quick
vibe?
Can be a quick answer, can be a long answer. Have you ever seen a dog? And if so, how did you know it was a dog?
Depends what you mean by dog. Because obviously that's quite contested, isn't it? Really. I don't want to, get into like a political like embroglio.
A religious thing.
A religious, yeah.
You won't have to read the emails that come in, so don't worry.
Okay. I would go with yes.
Yeah.
Tentative yes.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, if that sounds good with you, then I'm happy.
I don't know where you live, so it could be somewhere where they have dogs. I don't know where.
Well, Dave, interestingly, you two are both in the Big Smoke. Did you both know that? There's a little fact for you. So you're breathing the same air, the Big Smoke.
Look at that. I hope we're not. I hope we're not, because the air pollution's terrible.
Yeah.
Really, really lethal.
Do you hope Matt's out in the leafy suburbs of London whilst you're? Where are you? Where are you, Dave? Actually, in London. Which part of London are you in?
I didn't know I'd be asked where I lived.
Yeah, I'm actually in a van outside your flat.
Okay, is one of the other like questions like my bank account information? Just because I've read quite a few worrying articles recently.
It's your mother's maiden name, the name of your first pet. The next couple of questions I need the answers to. Yeah.
You might not notice that we're asking.
Yeah. If you see Matt reaching for a notepad and furiously sort of jotting things down with a ballpoint pen, you know why. So just be wary of that, Dave.
I like that the however many years of calculated drivel is just a very, very long con to get the few £100 that I have.
It's one of the many conspiracy theories out there.
This is going to hopefully be our last ever show, because we've been building towards getting your bank details, mate. Basically. Have you seen a dog then? You didn't say what you said. You've seen one.
I feel pretty confident I have. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Good stuff.
Cool.
If he saw me, I don't know. That's a separate thing.
Yeah.
We'll get him on the show and we can.
Yeah. Get him to clarify if he saw you or not. How do you clean your sieves? That's another question that we like to sort of warm up with. I say sieves plural as if you have multiple sieves. I'm guessing you only have one.
Well, no, you're right to presume. That I have multiple sieves. I think you've seen me, and you know that I'm someone of that caliber.
Yeah, exactly. Don't take that back, Mark. You enjoyed that question. Sorry. Yeah, carry on.
Who knows how many I might have? That's between.
Here's a follow-up question. How many sieves is too many?
This is getting pretty heavy, pretty fast.
You don't have to answer that.
At what point would living become intolerable because the amount of sibs that you have? I think.
Oh, now that's a good question to follow up a question.
More like if you walked into someone you didn't know, a friend, but you've never been to their house before, and you go into their kitchen and there's X amount of sieves. How many does it have to be for you to be like, oh, hang on a second?
I might call it on this one.
It's almost like it does get better though. Sarah and I often go like to Italy, and we go to like older places, like, and you walk in and there's sieves for miles, really.
Yeah.
You look out the window, there's sieves. They got all different kinds of sieves. I don't know what they do with them.
Yeah.
And I'm always just impressed, and a bit intimidated as well.
Yeah.
What was the question?
You don't even need to answer. I think you've already answered it. That's perfect.
I should just say for the listener, if anyone's wondering what I'm doing, we've recently acquired a cat, and we've taught it to play fetch.
Right.
And it's just brought me its little ball, so every now and then I'll turn around and throw it.
It's amazing. How did you do that? I've never seen a cat.
I thought
that's
a dog-like behaviour.
Yeah, we know.
Surely.
It's got this little green ball. Hang on a second. It's got this little green ball that it likes, and we were just throwing it, and then it actually instigated the fetch, so it brought it back a couple of times, and we were like, hang on a second, I reckon we can train this. So then we started giving her treats every time she brought it back, and now it's got to the stage where she'll just be bored and she'll go and get it and bring it to us, and then fetch is instigated.
Yeah. You're doing all right, aren't you, Matt? I wish I had it. Yeah, I was gonna say, David and I were sort of dumbfounded there for a minute, just sort of hang on, like what am I gonna show for the show?
For the listener who knows that I don't leave the house very often, things have really picked up in the last week or so.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like it.
Pretty happy with my life. You know, I was pretty content up until now, and
yeah, you're gonna have to sort of, if you had a horizon or a body of water to look across this evening. I don't know if you're close to the Thames, Dave, but if you are, do go and have a look out across the water after this and think about it, basically.
And if it's affecting you still, maybe you could call home and ask for some advice. Speak to your mum. Well, what?
Yeah.
What's her maiden name again? Sorry.
Well, you guys really do want my details. Yeah. Matt, move us to our next segment of the show. What we got today? Right, okay. What have you got for us?
The loose lineup is going to talk a little bit more about film, and then delve into some tattoo-based chat based loosely around a quiz that I put together, and hopefully learn a little bit more about your tattooing side, David. And then
I should just say, I don't know, I forgot to mention this to Mark, but if there's going to be a lot of talks about films and stuff, I haven't really seen many films, so if you got any chance to sort of like give a little introduction to like what films are, that might be helpful for me.
Yeah, I can do that.
Take it, Mark.
Do you want me to tell you what a film is? Yeah. What happened in all of them? Okay. I'll try and just do a quick overview, shall I?
For the world listener, it might be good to just clarify what a film is as well.
Yeah. So a film. Yeah. So a film is something that we used to shoot for pictures on. I used to get a reel of the good stuff. Film or movie, some people call them movies, which comes back to if you leave the movie theatre and you say, oh, I actually felt quite emotional after that, I feel I was moved by that, you then say, oh, that was because that was a good movie. Okay, so that's what, for me, a film is a movie is a film, and it is an arrangement of visuals and plot and maybe a couple of special effects, but not too many, and I want to get sucked into it and leave myself for an hour and a half or 2 hours max, depending on the director. I want to eat salty popped corn with it. Apparently that seems to have been a thing that's been sort of developed as a to do with the movies. I don't know why. It could have been something else, but it ended up being popped corn. And a soft drink, and sometimes people get hot dogs halfway through a movie. Like sometimes people order like food to arrive halfway through a movie. I mean, what's your opinion on that, guys? Are you advocates
at the cinema?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you get on?
I don't know. Have you been to those like fancy, very like upmarket cinemas you get these days, like Every Man and
and his dog.
Picture House and those kind of things, where it's like, yeah, you can get like a full-blown meal sent to your chair halfway through. I was find it weird at first, but then it is kind of nice having a hot dog and an old-fashioned brought to you. I can kind of get used to it. It's only annoying if you're not eating and then you can smell someone else's food, I guess. So always get a hot dog is my advice.
Well, for films in general, just it will make any film a little bit better.
Well, yeah, why not?
What about you, Dave? What like from that? What are your takeaways? Are there? Are you a popcorn consumer during movies, films, or what?
Well, I didn't really listen to any of that, but I like the idea of an old fashioned. I quite like that. I don't even know what it is really. I just like the fact that it is old fashioned, whatever it is. Yeah, I'm hooked.
Yeah,
I'm invested.
Okay, you're signing on the dotted line.
I would do that.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. So yeah, we're just gonna be looking at a few films, mainly looking at some Joaquin Phoenix related films, just because I'm a big fan. I'm sure Matt is, and I know David is. So we're just gonna sort of run through a few. I've got a couple of different quotes from him that for me I found quite. I don't know if they're out. I want you guys to give them a rating of 1 to 5. 5 being out and out Joaquin Phoenix. 1 being that could have been one that could have been anyone. So
who is Joaquin Phoenix for the world listener?
Joaquin Phoenix is an actor who I first saw in Gladiator. He was kind of iconic for being the guy who put his thumb down, and he also stabbed Marcus Aurelius. He stabbed a guy. Okay, he forced a guy to fight in a big old arena in Rome, and he not only did he force him to like fight lions, he decided to put a knife in him and then make him fight.
This is in the film, though, right?
In the film, yeah. That's Joaquin Phoenix in a nutshell, basically. No.
Directly from his Wikipedia page.
I think you should have a 5-minute section where you try and pronounce different Roman names.
Would you pay good money for that, dude?
No, I wouldn't. But I watch it for free.
Yeah,
so.
Which is what we're
okay. You watch it for free. Yeah. Give me the finest cakes and wine, and give me them for free. Okay, so the first quote from Joaquin is, "You think you need meat to be a real man? You're doing it wrong." 1 to 5. 5 being out and out Joaquin. 1 being not sure if that's that Joaquin. What do you reckon, guys?
Are these quotes from him as a human or from the films that he's been in?
That was just him being quoted. That wasn't in a film. That one. That was just him being quoted as a human. Yeah.
What was it again? Sorry, I'm googling ancient Roman names.
You want to put me on the spot, do you, Matt? Okay, so you think you need meat to be a real man? You're doing it wrong. What do you reckon, guys?
I mean, is what we're getting at here that he's quite eccentric and says some peculiar things, because that is quite peculiar.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd definitely say so.
I quite like how non-specific it is. How you just need meat, just in a general sense, not for eating.
I'm sorry, I just
It's quite an interesting idea to me to need meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
No, but when you say knead, isn't that something you do like when you're like doing pottery? You have to like knead the clay or something.
Interesting. Someone who's like massaging him into being a real man. Interesting.
It's like when David says, I need meat, he actually means like in a pottery sense, in terms of like he just does that thing with the clay. He doesn't actually need it. So yeah, that was the first quote from the Joaquin Phoenix segment. The second quote I've got here is, okay, I thought it was going to bother me, but it really hasn't. Oh, that's an interesting one.
I think if I heard that and had to attribute it to someone, it could be anyone.
You reckon? Well, okay, here's a question for you guys. Yeah, I'll apply that quote to both of you. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought something was going to bother you and it really didn't? Like, what do you reckon? Matt, go first, let's say. No?
I think I sometimes think that I'm going to get quite scared by kind of TV programs relating to hauntings, but then actually in reality it's not, it's just laughable.
What, so you sort of switch off the TV, brush your teeth, go to bed, lights out, and you're out like a light? You're not lying there worrying about haunting going on nearby?
I would say I'd still lie there awake worrying about other things, which I'd rather not get into now.
No, fair enough. What about you, Dave? Are you are you fearful of? Do you get scared? There's a question. Simple question. Do you get scared?
I don't
Have
know.
you been
I
scared
didn't
recently?
really like it, so I just sort of stopped at that point.
Through
I
the towel.
didn't really like the experience. It was quite frightening.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, enough is enough. You know, let's end this here. Let's end this now, once and for all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did that. I don't know if I've ever thought I'd be bothered by something and then not be bothered by it.
It's a very specific question, and when you're put on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think normally you anticipate whether you generally tend to anticipate potential bother coming your way. You don't tend to think that it's going to happen, and then it doesn't.
Yes, I've had the opposite.
You've had the opposite.
Yeah, most of the time actually. I think this is all right, and then it's terrible, absolutely terrible.
I'll move on to the last quote.
Quite an insight there.
Yeah, no. We're all about insights tonight. It's Saturday night, party night. Everyone's heading down to the discotheques. Everyone's on their video calls like this, acting like they're socialising, but I'm actually in a room by myself. Actually, I'm in a van outside David's flat.
We talked about the van.
I know. I got the MOT done on it though.
I mean, just being in the van.
Well, being in the
You've been in the van for 2 years, mate.
I know. It's time to throw in the towel. So this is the last one. He says, I think I felt better when I was locked up in a hospital. So yeah, what do you reckon? 1 to 5?
I mean, that's the point of a hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good point actually. I felt better when I was in a hospital. Yeah, because they were making you better, mate. You fucking...
Right, everything's normal then, good.
Yeah, thank you for that one, Joaquin. You've really helped.
A hospital is actually just terrible. It's like worse, and you go there and everything gets worse.
Yeah, you go there as a healthy, fit as a fiddle, and then you come out in a wheelchair, ruined.
We have anti-hospitals.
Anti-hospital. It's a difficult sell.
Just table that idea. Just table it. But we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Just get the funding. It's fine. Just get the funding and
just drop Susan an email. Matt, I think that concludes my little segment on Joaquin Phoenix.
Nice.
Matt, what have you got for us next?
About films, David, and I hope you enjoy watching films.
It sounds like there's a lot of words. A lot of people saying those words, and I'm quite partial to that. So.
And Joaquin Phoenix is always in them.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Even the ones he's not in, he's in them a bit. Let's be honest.
While I just get this. While I just get this.
Yeah.
Can you just read a few of those Roman names out, Mark, while I get this quiz ready?
Of course. I do want to get into tattooing, actually. I don't mean like myself right now, but I want to get into David's journey into it because, I literally, you and I, we kind of have occasionally exchange a message, normally very convoluted and a bit sort of nonsensical, and then I said to David, "Have you got Insta, mate?" And he just sends me this page with about 11,000 followers and a big portfolio of work. So it was really beautiful to be able to look through all of that. It seems to be going well, man.
Life and everything. It was good to, because I've only ever sort of known you for the past 10 years as like quite a confusing like hour-long phone call where I just end up walking around where I live and getting really cold.
Yeah. That's normally like mine and Dave's relationship over the last 10 or so years. I'll occasionally just call him, and I'm normally walking around part of London. I've changed that now. I walk around Brighton and I do it, or it's just a message, and I normally kind of hang up the phone and don't really know what the hell's happened, but it works.
Interesting.
It works.
So, how did you get into tattooing? I guess that's my first question.
Oh man, well that's the whole thing. Geez. Well, I've finished university, or uni, as we say in England, because we're absolutely horrible. And I went back to live with my mum, who raised me. And
what's her maiden name again?
Every time I get closer to it. I know I'm gonna be on like fucking ITV News or something.
Yeah.
I was just scammed by a podcast. But what was I doing?
Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, it's fine. And my dad lived in a different house to my mum, for the reason that they would been separated for about 15 years. And he was like, "You should come down to the tattoo studio, mate." And I did. And then about 3 years later, I was working there. And
that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Nice. So your dad owns a studio?
He did, yeah.
Nice.
I don't think I've known like an angrier man. And he just fired everyone and then closed the studio. But before that, I was working there.
Be funny if yeah.
So you don't want to anger a man with a tattoo gun. My second question is, how do you practice, or how did you practice before? Can you practice before giving someone a tattoo, or do you just go for
it? My dad had a lot of just like strange associates. One of them was called Beaver, and I'll just leave it at that.
Called what?
Called what? Yeah, we didn't get that one. You can't leave it at
that. Called Beaver.
Interesting.
That's all we need to say about Beaver.
He sounds like a good guy, but a troublemaker at times.
He's a good guy and a world of trouble, and love at the same time.
I like it when people say all of the above, and they kind of have a wry smile on their face afterwards, like they've really said something really smart, like all of the above, mate. You kind of go, okay, great. But yeah,
he was drop down menu, please select an option, all of the above. He was everything. He was my world. Yeah. So he just had a lot of people who were like, "Yeah, you can tattoo me, mate, for a pint."
Yeah. Well, you'd buy them a pint to tattoo them.
I never actually did. I thought it was just an expression. I think they should wanted me to take them for a pint. I thought it was a thing. Anyway.
Start using that.
But yeah, like the first tattoo I did was just on some geezer's finger, and then he just, I was asking about him like a few months later, and then just no one knew where he was, and I just never heard of him again.
Wow.
He just went.
You didn't tattoo a compass onto his finger. That's what you should have done. You would have found him then. You know, you'd hope.
I don't think that's how compasses work, and frankly, that's quite insulting to compass.
Yeah, you should have tattooed an arrow on it.
Yeah.
Can you remember what it
That would
was?
just be mayhem.
The design.
It was a, what the fuck? What are those? Cows. Yeah, it was a cow skull.
Okay.
I don't know if this guy, worked in farming or skulls.
Yeah.
He worked in skulls.
I think he probably the latter actually. Beaver, job description, all of the above. Well, with the above included, skulls.
Could have been. Yeah. Yes.
So that was the first time you put pen to paper, if you will. And then how did it kind of develop from there? Like, what were the next? When did you know you'd caught the bug, if you will?
I don't know. I had a really bad fever. I couldn't stop coughing.
Yeah.
It was bad. No. Like I did a load of tattoos on people, and then at one point I just said fuck it, and after that I just started tattooing people who came into the studio, and it was all just hunky dory.
And what year was this? When you were like really sort of kind of, because I can remember meeting you in London one time, and I think you just started. You were probably, the ball was probably rolling at that point. Was it around then? I think you just got a back piece or something like that, maybe.
My God, honestly, when we were on, what the fuck road was that? It was like opposite the Ritz or something.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. That was like one of the lowest points of my life.
Yeah, you were working at a place you did not like. I remember you telling me you were working at some place.
Not because of you.
No. Oh, right, I was going to say.
No, it was his best period of life, and then he came to that street in London, and then him and I had a glass of red in a spill out cafe and some cigars, and it ruined everything.
Yeah, I lost my faith, lost my family, my kids. It's down to you. But we're over that.
Yeah,
we're over that now. I think.
Just
Mark's done enough to rebuild his reputation after that, and
yeah,
we have a trust now that he won't do it again.
Give him his kids back, Mark. Come on.
Oh, come on, Matt. It's not that easy. They know me well now. They know me well. Yeah, they work for me.
I don't know if Mark's ever done this to you. But when we met, he had this bad habit that I really hope to God he's out of now, of just taking everything I ever knew and ever loved, and just, he had this storage unit in Kent, probably cheaper there, and he just took it. He had a moped at the time. Just
drove it down,
and just straight down to the unit. Everything I knew and loved. About 5 times that happened. Really hard to rebuild after that.
Yeah.
But just kept doing it. That was devastating.
Interesting. Well, you keep mentioning Kent to me, but I've not been yet.
Well, who does, me or David?
You.
I do. I do. I do still have the lockup down there where I did take pretty much all of Dave's stuff that he knew and loved when he was 17 or 18. Took it all down there, just locked it up, and I didn't throw away the key. Actually, that's the thing you expect me to say. And then I threw away the key. No, I kept the key because I had to normally go make more trips down there. And I didn't take your tattoo gun though, Dave. You managed to you keep that, and that's something you love.
Yeah, I didn't know all of it at that time, so it didn't go.
No.
Just Matt you know that Mark's a good guy. I know that Mark's a good guy, but he does have a dark side.
Yeah.
And if he does keep mentioning Ken,
just
get out of there.
It gives.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah.
Good.
Well.
Yeah. So should we do the quiz?
I think it's time for the quiz. And by the way, Dave, when we finally get through Boris's roadmap or whatever they fucking call it, we could actually maybe do I'll come up to the Big Smoke and we'll record in person and not mess about with any of these fucking video calls, because it's all fun and games, we all joke around about it, but let's be honest, it's a load of bollocks, isn't it, really? Let's cut the bull crap, it's bollocks. But yeah, the quiz, let's do it, Matt.
Denying coronavirus, are you?
No, I'm not calling it the plandemic, the government's big plan. No, I'm just saying that video calling is a bit long, isn't it? Yeah. But we do what we can. Carry on, Matt. Right, what we got? Okay, so, quiz time.
If long-term listeners might remember, the last time we had a guest, we did a quiz based around world records relating to their specialist subject, which was, at the time, skateboarding. So I've gone for a similar theme today, and we're doing tattoo world records. So basically, you're going to do well to get the correct answer, so whoever's closest gets the point. Whoever gets the most points wins. Okay, here we go. Where should we start? Okay, what is the longest ever tattoo session? Brackets, team of two. We're talking in hours here.
Who, you got to say the person's name, Matt, at the end, so you know who's going to give their first figure.
So Mark, you answer first, but David, you got to think of your answer in your head. No adjusting.
I don't think my figure will necessarily lure Dave in towards that ballpark. But I'm gonna go with the longest session on record for tattooing two people. I'm guessing one tattooist and one customer/recipient.
I think what it means is two tattooists.
Two tattooists tattooing each other.
No.
I probably yeah. That's quite a funny thought.
I love the idea of just refusing to understand a simple statement.
Yeah. I'm gonna go for it's gonna be quite a long time. 50 hours. There you go.
Okay, 50 hours. David, what are you saying?
I know you said think of it in my head, but I didn't do that. 40.
All right.
Hours.
It's 60. So Mark takes the point.
Ooh.
60-hour tattoo session. The only other additional information I have is it was in Italy.
Would have been.
That makes sense. That's all.
If you said I mean, you could have told us that, couldn't you? It was 60 in Italy. Come on.
I was thinking about the world minus Italy.
Yeah. I forget that people do that. For context, can you tell us the longest session you've ever done, David?
Tattoo session or just sessions?
Just general sessions. Yeah. No, just what's the longest session you've done? And be honest.
What was the longest tattoo session I've ever done? I think it was about 10 hours. Yeah, it was some geezer actually.
Yeah.
It was about 10 hours. He was a little drunk as well. It's quite sad.
Oh my god.
It's quite sad. I didn't think you were going to ask about him. But yeah, no, he was good lad. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay, cool.
Well, he's got to be a good lad if you're tattooing him for 10 hours. Imagine if it was a... Yeah. I'm actually going to get a tattoo with you, David, when it's possible, because you've got the steez on the thin lines, and I like thin, like detailed line work.
I've often thought about the work that I do, because I do a lot of like architecture kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought that you would be interested, because I don't know if you realized this, but I think you're trying to be you are an architect. You're doing exams.
I'm in my 10th year into the process, and should be the end of this year, November sort of time. I will have jumped through all of these construction contractual legal hoops that I need to jump through to get a piece of paperwork that says you're an architect. There's just a lot of early morning fascism going on. Like, I get up earlier than you, therefore I am. Yeah.
I remember talking to you about this. This fucks me up so much, because it's like, it's the whole thing. Oh, I get up early. I get up early. I get up at 6. I get up at 5. You're just going to bed at 9.
Yeah. It's like, do you ever see Mark Wahlberg's daily routine where he like gets up at 3 o'clock or something, and then exercises, but then he goes to bed at like 4 p.m. So it's just like,
yeah. When he gets up at 3, I'm going to bed. Do you know what I mean?
It's like I'm doing that. I'm getting 8 hours of sleep. Fucking everyone is.
Yeah.
What happens in the morning is things more valuable in the morning. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah,
it's a good point.
Yeah, it does really irritate me, that one, because it's kind of like, well, get into good routines, do what I do, get up at the time I get up at. It makes me feel like Billy Big Bollocks or whatever. Like, it's really irritating, that sort of stuff. And it's funny because the jobs forced me into getting up earlier, because I have to get there on time. And yeah, I can see the appeal a bit, but at the same time, I'm not going to start telling everyone that I'm better than them, because I set an alarm clock and I get off an object. I get off a horizontal object that I've been lying on for 8 hours. I get off one, and then I go about my day. Like, why is that at all? Why is it you regularly do that? Okay, well, maybe other people are up late at night doing work that you fucking couldn't get near doing. Do you know what I mean? You don't, no idea what you're doing at that time. At that time you're setting your alarm for 3-4 in the morning. So yeah, rant over on that. But I think
lovely stuff.
Matt loves a lion. Matt, you love a lion. Let's be honest, mate.
I'm finding it harder the older I get to actually lie in, but I mean, traditionally, yeah, I do love lying. Right, we're one question into my quiz here. Okay, question 2. How old is the oldest person to get their first tattoo? David, first answer.
It's going to be older than young, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can confirm that it's true. If that's it. And if it helps, he's from Chesterfield.
Oh, classic. Lovely place.
Lovely part of the world, isn't it?
Part of the world, never been.
I love that. I have a particular interest for people who really, really love just random places. I meet a lot of people who go fucking nuts for York.
Yeah. It's not great though, is it?
It's not great though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No one's like, there aren't 7 million people who live in York.
Yeah, for a reason.
I once got drunk and went to the train museum in York.
Oh yeah? What, did going to the train museum make you want to drink, or you got pissed for the train museum?
I was working at Leeds Festival, and we had a day off before it started, so we all got drunk and went to the train museum.
Oh yeah? How did you get on?
I'd say it added to the experience. I think I had a bottle of wine. Saw some trains.
Okay.
This is another one of those things. I feel like you're just operating at like a higher level at this point, and I'm feeling pretty bad about myself, but I haven't done these kind of things. And I don't have a dog cat.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, sorry, getting distracted again. How old's this guy?
Well, I got my first tattoo when I was 19, so it can't be younger than that.
You're not the record holder. I can confirm.
Well, I could be. Let's not rule it out.
I'm going to rule it
Never
out.
say never. Well, let's not rule that out.
Yeah, let's not. You know what? Let's not rule it out. You know what, Matt, you want to rule everything out these days. You used to be really open-minded on the show a couple of episodes back. He's been a nightmare. Go on, carry on.
Okay, let's 104.
That's the case. Right.
Okay. Mark?
My go. The oldest person to get their first tattoo was not in triple figures. I reckon they were coming in at around 86.
It's 104 on the dot. I mean, unbelievable.
Oh man!
I'm giving you a
celebrate. Pour yourself a cup of coffee. What are you drinking tonight, Dave? So you're drinking some sort of vat of coffee.
Yeah, the elephant in the room was that massive coffee thing he had. Unbelievable scenes. Yeah, no, amazing.
I got it as old Italian. You see?
Very nice.
I did use it quite a lot, but my mum told me aluminium gives you dementia, so I will use it every now. Just a little bit of dementia for me, not the whole hog.
Keeps you humble.
Is that
true?
I mean, I've never met people with dementia who are pretty arrogant, so we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
For itself.
Right,
we're back.
So, okay, after that unbelievable guesswork from David, who's the oldest person you've ever tattooed?
80.
Okay,
an old Irish guy tattooed his ass.
Nice. What did he tattoo?
It's quite funny, actually. It's quite sad as well. He said he was staying with his family, but they didn't like him, so he just went out to get a tattoo. And he got Poc Mahone and like a kiss mark on his ass, and it's apparently Gaelic for kiss my ass.
Nice.
He didn't give a fuck, just read the paper. Classic.
That's great. Another sad tattoo story.
They're all sad. They're all sad.
Yeah.
I only do sad tattoos.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
You should put that on your resume.
I
Dave.
quite like-
I only do the sad tattoos.
That's like quite a good niche you get into. All right, next question, and there's two aspects to this, so double points up for grabs. This is the record for the most tattoos of the same musician. So you get a point for being closest to the number, and a point for either. You get 2 points if you get the right artist, but I'll give 1 point for being closest, and I'm just gonna judge that myself. So it's one person getting multiple tattoos of the same musician. Mark.
I've got to guess the musician, the number of tattoos of that musician that person got on their body.
Yeah, and you got to guess the musician as well.
I reckon someone has got Will Young tattooed on themselves 55 times.
Okay.
And the woman's name who got it. Do I have to guess? Do I have to guess the sex and name of the person who got Will Young on them 55 times? Because that's fucking too much, man. Come on.
I didn't ask for that. You can
All right.
try if you want. But,
How tall was she, do you think?
I can give you a weight. I can't do with the height,
You
Dave.
can guess.
5'9".
You can guess.
Yeah,
as much as you
she was
want.
a tall girl.
I
tall
don't get
girl,
the
to be fair.
information.
Yeah.
55
5'9".
Will Young. I mean,
55 Will Young. I'll go for. How about that?
great. It's not hard. Okay, I feel like it's not gonna be hard to get closer than that, David.
It's also not hard to get further away. So
No, I'd
I'm
agree.
in a pretty difficult position. I don't know what. Let's just cut the bullshit. Okay, let me think. Think time.
My advice would be choose a famous musician, not Will Young.
I think I better leave right now.
Is that Will Young?
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it have to be Will Young era? Because I was thinking of Jed.
No, it just has to be Will Young.
What is the most that someone's got a musician tattooed of Will Young? Okay. Who's the biggest musician? Elvis. How many times do you get an Elvis tattoo? Well, you're a fanatic, so you probably get 60 tattoos of Elvis. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say straight up, I think that was a better guess. But
So do I. I wanted to send in an absolute curveball.
You're actually further away in terms of numbers. It's actually quite disappointing. It's 15 tattoos, and it's of Eminem. And now I've got to decide who is Will Young or Elvis.
I love that as a question, just an isolated question.
Yeah.
5 tattoos of Will Young closest to 15 tattoos of Eminem, then 60 tattoos of Eminem.
Well,
okay, we'll leave that to the listener. But maybe we'll email in.
Email in, guys.
What is closer to 15 tattoos of Eminem? Is it 55 tattoos of Will Young, or is it 60 tattoos of Elvis? Let us know, and then I'll leave that as I'll give 1 point to Mark for being closer for the numbers, and then we'll let the listeners
scale
decide.
of 1 to 15 tattoos of Eminem.
Yeah. It's a hard one.
Can I just ask, Mark? Can I see your teacup?
Yeah.
That's a very personal question. Very elegant.
Is that a family heirloom?
Is that an old-fashioned?
This is a. Is this an old-fashioned teacup? Yeah, sure, Matt. Let's call it one.
Right, it's 2-2.
Let's call it one.
I'm nervous to go for this next one because it's kind of similar to the last one. What's the most tattoos that one person has had of the same cartoon character? And what was the cartoon character? David, you're up first.
Does it have to be Will Young?
It doesn't have to be Will Young.
No, it doesn't. We'll have a round off.
Okay. Cartoon character.
Sorry, and I should say Nicky Patterson from Aberdeen has 15 tattoos of Eminem. If you, the listener, were wondering.
Am I allowed to phone a friend?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Make a call right here, right now, live.
Quite interesting phone call. If you could put it on speakerphone as well, that would be good.
Okay.
Hello.
You're right, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. You?
Yeah, just a bit of a let's cut the small talk. Bit of a funny one. I'm in a bit of a situation with 2 guys. Don't really know how this is gonna play out.
You're not trying to walk home, are you?
No, they're in my house actually.
Okay.
Remotely, but
yeah.
The threat is still real. Cartoon characters and tattoos, mate. What are you thinking?
Ooh. I'd probably have to say Bart Simpson, just because I went so far out on my last. My last. I'm not involved in the thing you're doing. But I'd probably have to go for Bart Simpson, and 37 Bart Simpsons would be my guess for you to put forward as your guess. What's your phone a friend option?
Yeah, thanks. All right.
Are you going to accept that answer?
I'm gonna go with 40 Bart Simpsons.
All right, interesting. 40 BS. Mark, what are you saying?
I'm gonna go for SpongeBob SquarePants.
SB.
A nice solid 18 SpongeBob SquarePants.
Ooh,
Please.
Okay, I'm gonna give both points to David there. It's 52 Ricks from Rick and Morty.
Ah, okay. Why does he get points there? He didn't guess that.
I think
just give him the
all
points.
agree that Bart Simpson is closer to Rick from Rick and Morty than SpongeBob SquarePants, and 40 is closer to 52 than 18.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And that's
Well, actually, no, I don't. Yeah, that I'm not giving you that. The world gives you that.
yeah,
That's
I think
right.
That's undisputable. And that's Nikolay Belyansky from Moscow. Nice guy.
Okay.
Get him on the show.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more questions. I'm gonna try and rattle through these. Largest tattoo machine. Mark, we're doing this in centimeters. What, for context, how big is a normal tattoo machine, David? Roughly. About, what's that, 10 centimeters?
Don't really know units.
Let's say 10.
Yeah,
10,
about that.
10 centimeters, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go for 38 centimeters as the
38 cms. David, what are you saying?
Oh. Does it work?
Yes.
Does that really help you as a like what does that information give to your centimeters? Yeah.
Like a sign above a tattoo shop.
Yeah, I watched a video. Actually, that guy turned out to be an abuser, so we'll skip over that bit. It was
Another sad tattoo story.
Yeah, it gets sadder every day. Okay. We're going metric. 400 centimeters. I'm not even sure how big that is.
It's a 4 meter.
And I feel like the biggest tattoo machine would be pretty big, and that sounds pretty big.
Yeah. I regret saying such a low key number now.
Well,
I should have
Mark,
really gone after it.
You're actually closer. It was 129
Oh, okay.
centimeters, which is still pretty.
Wow.
A meter, almost a meter and a half.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wow.
Why?
What do they get from that apart from the world record? Really, I mean,
an awful tattoo. Sure.
yeah.
A big tattoo. Yeah.
The bigger the machine, the bigger the tattoo. So
That's
simple.
Yeah.
Cost saving.
Yeah.
Smart, actually, isn't it? When you think about it.
All right, 4-3 going into the final question. 4-3 to David. The oldest tattoo. So this is. It's a complicated question. The oldest tattoo known to man. How old is it?
David, you're answering first. We're working in years.
Surprisingly. Should I answer this, because I do actually know it.
Well,
because I read the article like a week ago.
Okay, then Mark guess first.
To make this more interesting.
The oldest tattoo on a living person.
They were living at one point. That's what I'm saying.
They were living at one point. Okay.
As most people are.
Yeah. So I don't really understand this question, but the tattoo that was the oldest.
So okay, they found someone who had tattoos.
Yeah.
How old are they? When were they
Okay,
around?
I don't know. They found an 80-year-old bloke called
Keith.
Keith, and he got a tattoo when he was 10. 70-year-old tattoo. Done.
I understand the confusion and good math. No, the question is, how many years ago were they alive?
They were alive. They died in 2017. They died 4 years ago. They died in June 2017.
So you're saying that before 2017, no one had had a tattoo?
No, I'm not saying that, am I?
Because that's the question.
I'm not going to say that, Matt. That's fucking ridiculous. I've seen loads of tattoos. Put me out my misery.
No, gas.
Okay, fine. 1800.
Right, great. David.
Is that the year 1800 or 1800 years old?
The year.
Okay, great.
Why are you crying, Dave?
Because your answer's so terrible.
Just the whole, I love it. Was that, I don't know if that was deliberate or not.
No, that's Mark being an idiot.
Yeah, that's me being an idiot on a Saturday night.
That's for Mark thinking 2017 tattoos were invented.
Yeah. Didn't see one before.
I mean, it is actually like a contentious point. And it is like a sort of like, I suppose, I don't know, a discussion between countries, you know, because there's a lot about which country invented tattooing, and it becomes quite political. I can't remember the actual number, but I think it was like 4,500 BC.
Okay, I mean, that's very close to what I've got here. I've got 5,300 years ago, so I'm not going to work it out. You got the point. Mark was quite far off. Apparently, in 1991, a mummified man was found in the Italian Alps called Otzi. They named him Otzi. I'm not sure why.
That makes sense.
But yeah, okay. So David, you absolutely ran home with it there, 5-3. And so you should, as a professional here. So well done. Is the question about, was it like a Polynesian thing, like origin thing?
Oh well, I don't know really. I haven't actually looked into it that much, but it seems that a lot of different places in the world sort of develop tattooing independently. But it's obviously hard to say because it starts in prehistory, and prehistory is prehistory, as I understand it.
They had their own, I guess, different. I mean, I know in the Philippines they use the when they repeatedly like hit almost a small hammer with ink into the skin. So I guess different locations around the world had their own primitive tattooing methods. So it's hard to really pinpoint one. Would you say, Dave? That'd be fair enough as an observation, or?
Yeah. I don't know. Every all of these cultures seem to, from what I've read anyway, start in pretty much the same methods. They all seem to develop the same idea.
Yeah.
I love the idea of things developing separately in different countries. Apparently, the concept of a rabbit's foot being a lucky object developed in several different places around the world independently.
Oh yeah, that's a really. I'm actually separately really interested in like prehistory, and all of that kind of stuff. And it is very 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 interesting how similar people are actually. You know, and then it makes you think, well, if everyone is born with the same kind of ideas, I don't know, across the world, it's very interesting. But yeah, anyway, this was just in my mustache. How long was that there for?
Not that long. Not that long. Yeah, I'm glad that you took it out because neither Matt nor I said anything when we noticed it. The Zumba Bar has all sorts of tricks up its sleeve. Especially on movie night. All
right, well that's Matt, me done. That's me. I'm out of tattoo.
Matt's out.
Quizzes.
Well, I also just want to thank you for that one, Matt, because I thought that, you really made David and I lock horns on a few of those rounds, and that's what we're after on Calculated. Yeah.
Sorry for humiliating you as well, Mark. And remember, listeners, to email in what is closer to 15 tattoos of Eminem? Is it 55 tattoos of Will Young, or is it 60 tattoos of Elvis?
Yeah, keep your texts coming in as well, guys.
Yeah. Preferably
Matt and I are looking. Yeah, Matt and I are looking into getting a fax machine at some point, Dave. Not trying to brag, but we will let you know when that's all set up.
Just for anyone listening as well, my phone is. I've paid my bill. I won't give you my number, but just that's available.
Right, you can try and guess it, maybe.
Yeah, well, it's a 1 in 10 chance, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
that's what they say.
So guys, my the next little feature that I kind of thought up not that long ago. A friend of mine, Richard, who you would get on very well with, Dave. He kind of inspired me with this feature. Basically, him and I, we kind of noticed online on Instagram, for example, you see lots of guys, lots of blokes, lots of geezers liking these Instagram babe photos. And it could even be just like an old throwback photo of Angelina Jolie when she was 21, 22. And you see all of the Victoria's Secret model. And I saw one not that long ago of a Victoria's Secret model called Sarah Sampaio, who is Portuguese and very attractive. May I say? I'm just going to give you a bit of context, guys. This is the picture. Okay. And on that, her caption with that picture is Valentine's Day is around the corner. Do you have any plans? And I then just went onto the comments just to see what I could find. And I saw there was a chap called Steve. Steve basically said, Sarah, we can see your cute little derriere. And I was like, okay. Right, Steve. What are you getting from that? And who are you?
Aware that it was on show. He's just letting her know. It's like,
I think
I take that down because you can actually see your bum.
Yeah. So I went on to Steve's profile just to find out a bit more about Steve. So this is Steve's profile. Hopefully he's not going to be listening to the podcast, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble. Family Guy. He's a pediatric radiologist at Children's Mercy Hospital. He was a former general medical officer at the U.S. military, and
listener to the
show. And Sarah, we can see your cute little derriere.
God, I love it. I love it because it's like you really do get. It seems to be like this sort of conspiracy with boomers where they really think, when they're like messaging a profile of someone, that person is there on their phone looking at it and going, oh, I've got a new message. I've got a new comment. Let me reply.
Steve from Wisconsin, who's 45 and depressed in his marriage. Oh, I'll definitely drop him a message back.
Honestly, it's almost as like they've transplanted what happened in the 90s. And I think in their mind, they really think they're going to like send email back. Like, dear Steve, I read your comment last night and found it quite interesting.
Yeah. So that was, I just wanted to, and I've got one more actually. And Richard basically found one in response to my one. He said, and Richard said his profile pic is with his wife, for fuck's sake. So it is weird, this whole anonymity. What's the word? Anonymity. Yeah, anonymity. So he then sent me one. It was this girl Dua Lipa, who I only found out about last year. Famous musician, pop star, London girl. Does really crap but extremely well-selling pop music.
In your opinion, it's just pop music, isn't it?
Yeah. It's, I mean, to be fair, well, anyway, so she uploaded some sort of video here dancing. You can't. And the comments here, this guy called Edezarian. His name is Edezarian. He said, "Love your collar. Does it come with a leash?" And we wondered, who is Ed Azarian? And then Ed Azarian, this is Ed Azarian.
Oh my god. And for the listener, it's like probably like a 60 to 70-year-old man with glasses with a receding hairline.
Yeah, and in his Instagram picture here, he says, and the seasons they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time, we can't return. And that's it.
Is that his own poem, or is that...
So yeah, that was. I just thought I'd mention that to you guys because I thought it was quite interesting. You know, these people who live two lives, one with their fingertips on the keyboards of these little TVs we carry around.
It's quite interesting as a concept, the face behind the comment. I think. I mean, if we did, I think the evidence is pointing towards it always being middle-aged balding men. But,
yeah. There seems to be a correlation there.
I want to know what like series of events they imagine is going to transpire from them.
Yeah.
I think they expect there to be like a message back from said Victoria's Secret model saying, "Hello, Stephen. I saw your comment earlier on about my cute little derriere, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna book a flight out to Wisconsin or wherever you are, and we'll just head out on the town." You know, like that's what they hope.
And also, the kind of the messages that they decided not to send, because I imagine there'd be some absolute trash.
Yeah.
They were drafts.
Let's
get it right. You got one shot with you.
Yeah.
She or derriere.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I like we're a fan of big dreamers on the show. I guess that's one way of putting it. You know, dream big slash do lots of drafts just to get it right. They got it right. Bullseye. Yeah, probably best. Go to bed.
Agreed.
And just to say, guys, the last feature of the show, because we're approaching 1.5 hours here, and it's been a whirlwind, by the way, guys. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, both Matt and Dave. I mean, have you enjoyed your first evening in the Zumba Bar, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, it looks an awful lot like where I live.
Yeah.
And for all intents and purposes, nothing is different. But no. I do happen to like where I live, so I have coincidentally enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And here we go. So, this feature is basically called Idioms Are Us, and I'm basically just going to run off a couple of idioms, and we're going to just work through. We're going to break them down a bit. The first idiom I'd like to break down is, it's just been one of those days. I hear that an annoying number of times every week. It's just been one of those days. I mean, Matt, you go first. What the hell is that about?
I don't think I have the same opinion, the same strong emotions towards that as you do. What's the question? What do I think about that?
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about the phrase when someone says to you, "It's just been one of those days, mate"? I mean, what do you take from that?
I mean, I don't think this is the entertaining answer that you're looking for, but I think it's fine. I think it means it's been. I think one of those days refers to one of those more difficult days.
Yeah.
I can't. David, have you got anything?
I like how earnest your answers are. I appreciate that. I don't know. This is interesting. I was saying to Sarah earlier, I went through a weird period where I worked at a tattoo studio, where pretty regularly in my vocabulary I would have just one of those things in it, and that got me through a lot. Really, I sort of think of it as like the sort of working class. Fair enough.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's sort of on the same level. Like you don't need to say anything. It's just one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that says it all.
Yeah, it's quite homely. It's quite welcoming as a phrase. I think it's one of those days, mate. And then you kind of get in your car and you go home.
Do you think
you don't question it? You don't do anything. You make some dinner. You go to bed. You know, like it's one of those days.
Do you think you can get through a tattooing session by only using that?
I'm sure I have at some point. No, I feel it's fully functional as basically any meaning that you want to convey can be conveyed by just one of those things.
Yeah,
I think you'd get away with it.
Yeah. No, well, I think that was actually quite interesting. Another one I've got here is penny for your thoughts, which I personally find interesting because it's almost like you're trying to pay me for my thoughts, which is quite a good thing actually. I normally don't get paid. I don't normally get paid for my thoughts, so I guess that's quite good. But I mean, what thoughts, guys? Any initial
penny for our thoughts?
Yeah, penny for your thoughts on penny for your thoughts.
At the same time, it's quite insulting though, isn't it? Because a penny is a very low amount of money.
Yeah.
I'd sort of
They
say
don't
your
value my
thoughts are
thoughts.
they're worth basically nothing to me.
Yeah.
Which is quite an offensive.
Quite
way
unnerving,
to
isn't
start
it?
off. Yeah.
If you had to rephrase that in a more literal term, would it be like?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me
Grand.
what you think?
Or just up it. Just up it like five quid for your thoughts.
Yeah, what's a reasonable amount? 5 quid's quite a
Yeah.
lot. It depends what you're asking, I guess. A quid? I think a quid's alright.
A quid's yeah, that's an amount of money, isn't it?
Quid for your thoughts. And then I think if someone was giving me a quid, I'd give them like a reasonable.
You could mishear that and think someone was saying squid for your thoughts. They're trying to offer you some calamari or something.
I'd
Which,
take
to be
it.
fair, from a monetary perspective, portion of calamari on a Greek island, you tell me, mate. More than a quid. Last time I checked.
No resale value though, is there? It depreciates pretty quickly.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't hold its value like a quid.
Doesn't ship well. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Probably does actually.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it has to.
I think it actually ships very well. There's one for the listeners. How well does squid ship?
'Cause they catch them on ships.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
No, you're safe. That's safe.
Yeah.
Can I submit an idiom?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Put an idiom forward, Dave. Put an idiom forward.
I realised as I said that I didn't have any in mind.
Yeah.
Let me think of an interesting idiom. In for a penny, in for a pound.
In for a penny, in for a
Yeah, what
pound.
does that mean?
I feel like you're trying to hustle fruit and veg to me at a Sunday market in some Cockney geezer trying to make me leave 2 pennies for a pound, or I don't know. That wouldn't be a deal, by the way. 2 pennies for a pound. Don't take that if someone offers you that.
It's not equal, is it really?
No.
That's
No.
There's a Swedish idiom that I learned, which I don't know what it is in Swedish, but it translates as "I sense owls in the moss," which means something suspicious is happening, which I quite liked. Just if you walk into a mossy area.
Yeah, a mossy, any sort of mossy compound or
And
something.
if you could sense, I feel like in any situation, if you can sense owls, then something weird's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I'd agree with that. I was gonna say, Matt, actually, since you've been pointing the finger at me, but I've got something actually to get. I've got something to get you to explain to David, which will make you start digging a big hole for yourself. Can you tell David a little bit about the concept that you came up with about in 2018? Matt came up with a concept called Hawk Voyeur, and I'd like it if he could quickly shed a bit of light on that before we wrap things up a little bit.
Alright, so I'm a businessman, and sometimes I come up with ideas and I write them down on my phone under a notes section called ideas. And one of them, it might even have been the first one, it was a business proposition called Hawk Voyeur, and the idea is you pair. It's a dating app where you pair couples who are interested in people watching them whilst in the act with hawks with kind of perverted hawks.
I don't even know what that is. I love it. Obviously, I'm in. But...
well, Matt, break down what it is exactly. I mean, because I kind of have an idea, but I've got more backstory in my head. Because
who likes watching people in the act of making love, but they don't want to get into trouble, so there's an app which they can sign up to where people tell them. And it works well because it doesn't matter if they live in a block of flats or whatever, because the hawk can just hover outside.
So the hawk is watching.
Yeah.
People join the app and hawks sign up who are interested in watching, and then couples sign up who are interested in being watched.
They have really good eyesight. I think that's where it came from. I don't know where this came. Can you remember where it came from? I feel so mad. Obviously, I knew that was a mad idea. This is patent pending as well.
I think what you've got
there's big
there,
money in that.
Yeah, you've got an untapped market, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing that I know of apart from bowls is catering to the hawk market.
Yeah.
And that's just a shit show, really. They're just bowls. So, I mean, revenue.
Hawk Foyer.
I'm in.
It's a good name.
Hawk Foyer. It's a great name.
I mean, I've got my notes section up here if you want me to rattle through a couple more.
I think I need more, actually.
Some of them come from dreams that I've had. This one, Mo Farah's Hole in One. I don't know what that is. A golf-based game show hosted by Mo Farah.
I like the fact that he's a long-distance runner and has no golfing background as well. That makes that one very good.
Isn't an even idea. It's just a sentence: red sky at night, shepherd's pie. Red sky in the morning, shepherd's pie.
That's a recipe for joy.
Yeah, is that the leftovers from the night before, or is that a fresh shepherd's pie? By the way, just to clear things up on that one.
It's just leftovers, same time.
Leftovers, yeah, that makes sense.
Actually, something that really enrages me is the idea of shepherd's pie, because it's not a fucking pie.
No.
You would think that something that was called pie would be a pie.
Yeah,
It's just a mess.
I imagine you don't take well to a fish pie either, then.
I don't even know what that is. I'm a...
Don't ever ask him what a fish pie is, because that's just
pie, but for fish shepherds or fishermen, as I believe they're called.
Yeah. Shepherds of the sea, we call them.
I don't think you really know what shepherds do. I think they protect the sheep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But fishermen don't protect fish, do they?
I had a recent app, a recent notes idea that I was actually pretty gassed on this.
Yeah.
And I told Sarah when I was on the DLR. That's a London reference.
Oh yeah, I know that reference. It's a nice modern piece of transportation.
No, you wouldn't know. I mean, they don't have them in Brighton, do they? Not that I know of.
Not last time I checked.
They've not got
beach.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was telling Sarah about this. I was really interested. I just wrote down anti-sale. So you have the concept of a sale where things get cheaper. Think about it. You sell stuff and you're losing money, really, aren't you? Because it's cheaper. Yeah. What if you had an anti-sale where things are more expensive?
And
that way you make more money, right? I don't know why people do this. They do sales to make money, but they're losing money.
Yeah,
anti-sale.
I like that.
What would you call it anti-sale, or would you call it something else?
I'm pretty set on anti-sale.
You happy with anti-sale?
So
sells itself. Yeah. And also, people get an endorphin rush from spending a bit of cash as well. Like, you don't really get people don't really get an endorphin rush from mid-market sales or anything in the middle ground. You don't go, oh, I got this T-shirt for 15 quid. Tell all your friends about it. You say, I got this T-shirt for £1, or you say, I got the T-shirt for 100 quid. You don't get a little rush out of mid-range, mid-price product.
If I had my way, everything would be really expensive. That way, more money, making more money. That would be my business idea, really. Just put up the prices.
You should go into retail, surely. I just found a note for Hawk Voyeur. It is Hawk Voyeur, a dating service, brackets, maybe an app, which matches up couples who want to be watched in bed by a hawk with hawks who want to watch human couples in bed. Couldn't be more simple.
There you go. Get you.
Deliberately tell people that it couldn't be more simple.
You can't let them think that for themselves. Yeah. To be honest, Matt, I think you should be reaching for your credit card and going on some sort of American Airlines website and booking yourself a flight to San Francisco, straight to Silicon Valley, and to put that to some tech boys, and I'm sure they'll be willing to pump at least a couple of mil into that. And on that note, I want to say, well, thank you so much for your time tonight, David. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We will be in the editing process over the next week or so, probably hoping to, we'll extract some snackable clips from it for the Instagram. And is there anything you want to mention that we can, of what you're up to at the moment, promoting anything?
What's Instagram, if people want to see your tattoos.
Oh, right.
And what's your mother's maiden name?
It's Eternal, followed by several underscores, because Eternal was taken. I've actually forgotten how many underscores it is. I think it's 16.
Yeah.
So
right.
if you're going along and you're at 12, you're not there yet. If you've gone to 18, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
And I can't help you at that point.
You think after doing 12, it'll probably be the suggested one, unless there's another one who's using 14.
To be honest, I went through all of the different Eternals recently, and they're mostly like Chinese shoe sales pages.
Any of those that you'd recommend?
Well, 11. I'm quite impressed. I think it's 11. Eternal 11 underscores is a picture of a guy next to the YouTube logo.
Okay, cool.
And
Check that out.
I like that. It implies that he's big on YouTube without him actually doing that or providing evidence for it.
I like that it's on Instagram.
It's on Instagram as well. It's no, he just wants you to know that he's massive on YouTube, and you will never get to speak.
Love it.
I like the audacity of that.
We can put a link to both of those accounts in.
We'll put one link to the person who we don't know, who's big on YouTube, and everyone should check him out. And then we might put a link to David's Eternal. We will.
Should we try and get him on the show?
Yeah, we could do. To be fair, get him to talk about.
Weird. We could do a YouTube.
I mean, he's been to YouTube, so I don't know how bigger you can get than that, really.
Well, he's been inside the internet.
I don't know really, but he's next to the YouTube logo, and I mean, that's
pretty close.
That's on the website.
Yeah. You don't just get. I mean, if you're getting close to that, you must be close to the website. I don't know. Yeah. Well, yeah. Matt, have you got anything to say? I want to say, well, nice for you guys to be introduced. I know this is only virtual, but I'm sure we'll go to London and get some ink.
We can do Mark's live tattooing as a live episode.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we should definitely meet up at some point in London. You know, when all of this blows over.
Fucking hell. Yeah. When things go back to normal. You know, all that bollocks. Yeah.
See each other again, right? Boris Johnson.
Yeah. You know when people talk about Boris and they say like his name really casually, oh yeah, we'll see what Boris says about it. It's like, stop acting like you have this like intimate thing going on. You sit on your TV in front of the box and watch Matey Boy with his dishevelled hair chatting about a few bits, and don't start telling me, oh yeah, we'll have to see what Boris has to say about it. Like really smug, like it's really challenging to watch the TV. But yeah.
That everyone is doing that just seeing if people think that they know him personally.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think people do, the way the tone that they say, oh, we'll have to see what Boris has to say about that. But anyway, rant over on that. Great to see you, David. Have a good rest of your weekend. Are you working tomorrow?
Yeah,
doing some tattooing tomorrow. Have a good session, and
hopefully it's not too
Matt,
sad.
Yeah.
A lot of your tattoos seem to have been sad occasions from what you've told us.
Yeah, it's tragic only. I just have the applications and the most tragic ones get on. It's like X Factor. They have to have a compelling story.
Yeah, you didn't. Does some of them involve you working at the Carphone warehouse and then realizing that you were a great singer?
No, but it's in the pipeline. It's in the pipeline.
Yeah, you're working on that one.
When they're back up again.
I hope your tattoo's not too sad, Mark.
Maybe, no, mine will be.
I can get one that just says sad.
Just says sad. Yeah, you could do, Matt. To be fair, you can do whatever you like. Mate. It's your body. Don't ask me or Dave. You know, we're just the tattoo artists.
You're a tattoo artist, Mark.
Well, I've got the hand. I've got the. I think I've got the hands. Requisite skills. In terms of got a pair of hands. Got a pretty decent drawing style, but yeah, never touched a tattoo gun, so I would like to give it a try. To be fair.
Cool.
But yeah, great to see everyone.